Hi, welcome back to the C&T Auctioneers YouTube channel. Again, today we're here with Dougie Flower, and we hopefully you saw our original video we did with Dougie's collection here on World War I German items. And as we said in that video, Dougie also collects British and French items. And today we're going to do a video more on the British artifacts from World War I. But we're going to start with, you may remember in that video, if you saw that video, that Dougie said he got into Militaria collecting through British medals. As I've come up here again, Dougie, you've got a fabulous display of British campaign medals here, mostly from the Victorian period through to the First War, and gallantry medals. And so yeah, just talk us through some of the medals you got here in your display.
Certainly. I mean, as I say, it started really because we had a collection of family medals, as often people have, and I had the ribbons, but not the medals for some of them. So I guess I was 9 or 10. I wanted then to get the replacement medal. Then realised that they had different combinations of bars or class, as we call them, depending where they served, and also, of course, that they were named, which is unique to the British. So sadly, it's not like collecting stamps or coins. It's something with a personal history when you know the person who's actually been awarded it. And it went from there, unfortunately. And this was really the beginning. And I guess, well, you start off collecting all sorts of medals, and in those days people used to actually give you medals from family they didn't necessarily want. These days I turn them away because I always feel that somewhere along the line someone's going to say, oh, I wish that I had granddad's medals or great-granddad's medals. But for me, the starting point, the first medal, as you know, is the Waterloo Medal that was awarded to everybody who served there. So I wanted to get an example of one of those, and the first one I think I paid £40 for in the 1970s. And it's to the Royal Wagon Train, which is not the most glamorous of regiments. And then since then I've added to that, and we got some cavalry and we got some casualties and.
How does £40? So that was 1970s. So for some of our younger viewers of this channel and our videos, yeah, there are some of them. Hopefully there are. Well, hopefully there are some of them. How does that equate to, say, modern day? So £40. I mean, how does that equate to the sort of modern day?
I think
would you say?
I started work in the 76, 77 period, and I think I was earning £1,200 a year or something like that as an early, into the game. So it was quite a hefty sum.
Quite a lot of money. So it's still quite relevant in terms of what, let's say, a Waterloo medal is worth today then.
Yes.
So
it'd be interesting to test against inflation, but yeah.
Sure,
yes, it's certainly held its own, but whether it's beaten it or not, I don't know.
Well, as we sort of come through and have a look at some of these, like Dougie said, so the first one was the Waterloo medal, which you see we've got up here some Waterloo medals, and here as well. And then the medals that are becoming very, very popular nowadays are these the Naval General Service medals, which are for this sort of campaigns like Trafalgar, etc. And Dougie's got some really, really nice examples here, and he's got a lovely one here with 3 bars. With Naval General Service medals, the more bars you get and the more unique name they are, the more valuable they are. Isn't that correct?
It is. Yeah. I think the maximum number is 7 bars to any medal. I think there's 2 of those, but gosh knows, if you just they'll never come on the market. No, I shouldn't think.
No, probably not. And again, as you go through here, you've got some nice medals for the early campaigns here in India. Then you've got this sort of Crimea and the Baltic, and moving on through to the sort of campaigns in South Africa and China and Sudan, and again then back to India in the sort of latter part of the 19th century. And then really you come to some of the medals for World War I, and I see you've got a military cross here, awarded, looks like it's awarded on the Somme.
It was, yes, at Delville Wood for a chap in the 24th Fusiliers, which is the Sportsman's Battalion.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, we can go off, but the 23rd, they were to the right of the 23rd Battalion, I believe, on that day, but didn't actually take part in the fighting. But he must have been attached to the 23rd, I would assume. I haven't been able to find out his citation yet. But Again, this is the thing with medals. That's just the beginning, having the medal. It's then the research,
The research,
trying to find out.
yeah, and find out what
unfortunately,
the
in this case, I haven't got anywhere.
You haven't done that. No, okay, no problem. Well, time does always evade us sometimes. And down here we've got sort of Distinguished Conduct Medal. You've got the Military Medal here, and this one is awarded with 2 bars, which is quite a scarcity.
Yeah, there's 180 with 2 bars apparently,
which is not many when you think about how many military medals were issued.
No,
so that's a nice medal there. So yeah, the collector, this is a really nice display of good, interesting Victorian and then into World War One, and there's a couple of World War Two groups here, campaign medals. Now, when I was up here looking, instantly my eye was caught to this. So tell us what this is all about.
Well, this is a Victoria Cross, except it isn't.
Here we go, Victoria Cross that isn't.
It is an original box, which the original award would have come in. Just trying to remember the fellow's name, which is kind of daft. It's actually named, as would the original one, on the back to Private Lauder, Scots Fusiliers, and he was awarded this for action in Gallipoli, where he was on a bombing run, throwing grenades at Turkish trenches. One rolled back, and he put his foot on it to save his comrades, and lost his foot, but survived. Wow! The interesting thing about this is it's documented that he wore this particular one, a copy one, rather than the original one. The original one was kept in a vault, and we have plenty of evidence that is this case, and we also know that this was his, and we have some paperwork and other things to back that up.
So this is the actual one that he wore, as opposed to not the one he was awarded, maybe, but the one he actually wore at his time.
The one he was awarded is in the Ashcroft in the Imperial War Museum.
Oh, okay, wow. So for most collectors, this is probably as close you're ever going to get to owning one, and I would say it's way up there. I would have said, such an interesting piece, and as you can see, nicely awarded. All the award details exactly how an original one is done. So a Victoria Cross that isn't a Victoria Cross.
Indeed. I mean, if it were the original one, it's what, 200,000 upwards?
Easily nowadays, 200,000 upwards. But still, I think this is a very, very interesting medal, and I think if it came onto the market, it would do very, very well. So as we move away from medals, hopefully you can see the scan of the room here. There's a whole mixture of World War I items coming from the standard British infantry all the way through to the Royal Flying Corps.
I'll select an item. This is a Turkish officer's knife. I've never seen one like this, but it's got lovely markings.
Oh, wow.
And
how lovely.
On the back of it is written, I think, captured from Kut, or taken...
Turk officer's knife, Kut 1915, is that?
Yes, Kut 1915.
Yeah. Turk. Yeah.
So, I mean, that, again, it's an item, but it's an item that's got a story.
It's got a story and a bit of history.
Someone's souvenir that back.
Wonderful quality, the silver crescent moon and star, which is obviously the emblem of the Ottoman Empire. That's a really, really nice piece. I can see why you like that one so much.
Another item, just like a fairly common Turkish belt buckle.
Yeah.
I think you've seen a few of those, but this one is
quite a few.
An earlier version. And if you look,
lovely.
What's written on there?
Wow.
Royal Navy Air Service, Dardanelles, 1915.
Oh, that's wonderful. So this is a typical. So obviously, a serviceman in the Royal Naval Air Service has picked this belt buckle up as a souvenir, and he's beautifully fine quality engraved it here to where he's picked it up. That's a very nice one. An unusual fitting on the reverse.
Yes,
it's period or done a bit later.
Yeah, no, I think it's period.
Looks period. Yeah,
because it is a different buckle when you look at it.
Yeah, it is.
It's subtly different. It's not like the
thinner as well, isn't it? So possibly either a Turkish-made one or maybe even an officer's one.
Yeah.
So in this corner of the room, we've got a nice little cabinet with display, which is all relating to the First World British Tank Corps. So that was trying to explain a few of those bits to our viewers.
Yes, another fascination of mine, I'm afraid, tanks. But so that's the tank helmet they first used on the 15th September 1916, and I think pretty much didn't use after that. It's a leather made helmet. Yep. Not to protect you from bullets, from being bashed about inside a tank, from the metal inside a tank. And
it's all pieces of leather, isn't it? That's stapled or stamped with screws.
Studs.
So it's pieces of leather that's fitted together with studs, isn't it?
Yes.
So,
yes.
And yeah, so it's a strange design
riveted,
item.
I'd say.
Riveted, yeah. We had one of these a couple of years back now that was walked into a charity shop. Funny enough.
Oh, gosh,
and
really?
yeah, and it was and when they said, "Oh, we've got a tank helmet," oh yeah, of course you have, sort of, because there's very few of these around in existence. And when it arrived, the excitement actually to have a real one is they're so rare to find. And and then again under that you've got the classic First World War British tank mask with the chainmail.
Yes, they're more common because they were used for a lot longer, weren't they?
They were,
and actually came in later. As I say, that the helmet itself was used on the 15th September. And basically, when they came out of the tanks, they got shot at by their own troops who mistook that helmet for a German
helmet.
So they thought that probably best soldiers.
Probably best not to have those.
Yeah.
The tank masks, although they are more common, they have dried up a little bit nowadays. They don't come up as much as they did. And again, like all things, unfortunately, there have some reproductions on the market.
Some very good ones.
Which have got better. But again, collectors, once you have an original one, you will be able to tell the difference. And I do stress that a lot of time with collectors, that once you have original ones, you should be able to start telling the difference between an original and a reproduction.
Indeed.
But again, there's some other nice little pieces in there, which hopefully the video will pick up. Some unusual pieces of insignia, etc. And this very fine officer's tunic here. So do we know who that belonged to?
We do, but don't ask me because I'd have to. Okay. But basically, I try to get an example of a tunic from a hero as he was.
Sure.
It's got the DSO, MC and bar, Croix de Guerre.
Yeah, Distinguished Service Order, Military Cross with bar, and then, as Doug said, the French Croix de Guerre award as well.
We also have a shell shock victim. We have a wounded fella. We've got a casualty, unfortunately. I try to get an example of various types, and they're all named, but I can't necessarily remember
which one's which. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's fine.
Another thing that's often faked, but it might be interesting to see, is the Corps Blimey.
Yes. Yeah, so explain to us, Douglas, the history of the Corps Blimey.
As I understood it, it's 1915. They issued them with these ear flaps, and I think the first sergeant or sergeant major saw them and said, "Corps Blimey, what's that?" I believe
that's the folklore story, isn't it? I always grew up with knowing, but I think it's a wonderful story if it is the truth. And what's lovely with this one? Look at this lovely 1915 dated paper label inside there.
Yes, you don't normally get that.
No, you don't. That is superb. Always have this sort of blanket style lining with the spiral on them. Yeah, that's a real super one, Doug. And do you remember where you got this one? Was it from a collector or?
It's a terrible thing. I can't remember. I think it was from a collector. I think it's a collector trade.
Collector trade, yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah. But no, that's a super example.
Actually, yeah.
Very, very nice.
Thank you.
Let's put that back on there. Don't see many of those nowadays. So. And again, you'll see collectors, a lot of things scattered around. You see a nice First World War Lewis gun. I'm assuming it's a First World War one. And the various foreign service helmets in this cabinet. Or again, this obviously is your Gallipoli and Palestine cabinet, I'm assuming. So you've got all the pieces from that part of the campaign. So as we walk through here, again, to this back wall of cabinets, again, you've got some very interesting British helmets, and like we said in the video with Douglas' collection on Imperial German stuff, he's put in the cases some lovely little touches and artifacts that really bring the collection to life. One thing that's really caught my eye are these two hardtack biscuits, which are nicely written, obviously kept by the soldier. And I don't know why. Why would you keep those as a souvenir and not eat them?
Well, I think they're inedible.
Right.
so that's why they used to send them back and say, "This is what we've been given."
This is what we've been given. We don't like it, but we'll keep it as a souvenir.
But people actually cut them out and made picture frames out of them and all sorts of things.
Right, okay, yeah.
And of course their teeth weren't so good in those days, so people, even if you didn't have many or good teeth, you would struggle. You would
struggle to eat it. Wow. So that's a really nice little piece there, and you see it's nicely inked. And as you come down, you've got some interesting helmets. Now, a lot of collectors will be looking at this one on here and thinking, well, what's that? So Douglas, please explain the Adrian pattern helmet.
Well, actually, it's an Acier Trompe. It's the French one that was the precursor to the Adrian.
Oh, okay.
And then banned. But British officers would buy before the Brodie came out, would buy helmets of various designs. There's a Portuguese type one next to it.
Which is known as the mild steel, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
As protection before the official Brodie arrived.
Yep. That's interesting. And there's a famous painting, isn't there, of Winston Churchill wearing such helmet.
A picture, I think, a photo. I'm not sure whether that's an Adrian or an SCA Trump that Churchill was wearing. But,
but it's that same sort of scenario.
Indeed.
And as you will see, collectors, on a lot of these helmets, they're either divisionally badged or regimentally badged. So we've got one here for the Royal Horse Guards. You've got one here with the division, which is the 40th Division, with the cockerel and the acorn. Then you've got the Queen's Regiment with a lovely, beautiful, the A in the diamond. So what is the A in the diamond stand for? Is it A Company?
I think it's A Company.
A Company, something like that. And then you've obviously got a Hampshire Regiment. Is it Hampshire? Yeah, it looks like Hampshire Regiment, and then obviously plus other things.
I have to say that most of them would be plain. I mean, it was only latterly really that they started painting them up. So it's unusual to get them that way, but obviously, it's more interesting.
More interesting, a bit more
as a collector.
As a collector, yes, of course. You've probably got a plain one.
There's a plain one.
Plain one, yes. It's the early type one. This is, as we see, collectors. This is the early type. Brodie helmet with the apple green paint finish, and then you've got a couple of the real early ones, haven't you, as well? So
yes, indeed.
Yeah, which is in a cabinet behind us,
and there's
a super one here with the divisional insignia of
the London Division.
It's one of the London divisions. Okay. Again, very, very nice, very, very rare to find, and you'll see the difference in the design of the shell. Much shorter brim on these earlier ones as opposed to the later type models. And again, as we carry on walking through here, there's a few more, first of all, British helmets, quite a few more British helmets. Cloth insignia, medals, the famous Princess Mary tin for 1914. We have a good example of the original cigarettes and tobacco. Another VC group. I mean,
yes.
So tell us about this VC group.
That's his military group. That's Joe Maxwell, who reckoned he is the second most highly decorated Australian in the First World War. We've got the MC and Bar, VC, and DCM. He wrote a book, Hells, Bells and Mademoiselles, which is a great read. And he's a very interesting chap. And as you can see, I've got the letter, and this confirms the provenance of it.
Wow.
His original medals were lost in Lake Macquarie in Australia on a ferry when the ferry capsized. Oh. The VC was saved because his parents had the VC.
Right.
It's now in the Australian War Museum. But these are miniatures he wore up to his death.
Oh, wow! So that's similar to the other Victoria Cross you had that he actually wore. He actually wore these miniatures.
He actually wore these. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Again, well, you could never get the original one, but you know, that's as near to it. And a fascinating read and a fascinating man.
Superb grouping. And again, as you can see up here, again, Dougie's, like you said, his love for trench periscopes. So we've got various different types here, and again, always like all his stuff. Super condition, and collectors really, we can't stress that, always try and buy something in the best condition you possibly can. We're quite aware that obviously not everyone's got huge budgets to be able to spend on their collection, but if you have a budget, really do try not just to buy one just because you want it instantly that day. You want a Brodie helmet, argument's sake. Wait, really look at what you're buying, and try and save for the best you possibly can. It will always stand you in good stead, and Douglas is a testament to that. He's always bought the best he possibly can. And then of course we come on to this back wall area, which has got a very fine selection of trench clubs and grenades. So Douglas, please explain some of these pieces to us, if you may.
Here's a very fine collection of trench club, and here's some grenades.
Okay, that's well explained. Yeah.
No, it's again, these are different types of English ones. English trench clubs known to have been used, different patterns. And again, you know, the earlier grenades, as they developed towards the Mills bomb and other later ones. But yeah, this is interesting bits of tunnelling equipment. I mean, you've got the actual plunger there, a periscope used underground, presumably to map out and to get the actual measurements right when you're tunnelling beneath the enemy lines. This is where the explosives would be kept. There's a skull and crossbones on that. And of course, the canary. And I was told by a real tunneler there's evidence that the canaries occasionally used to pretend to be dead to try and get out of there. And as soon as they came to the surface, they'd come to life again. But whether that's true or not, I don't know.
So with that, the birds were used in the tunnels, weren't they, to signal if there was
Yes.
If it was safe to be in there.
If there was any gas or anything like that,
yeah, they would alert the
would suffer first.
Yeah, and it would be a case of right.
If the canary goes down, you clear out.
You get out very quickly.
Yeah.
So that's why they had those birds down there with them, which sounds a little bit inhumane, but unfortunately that was warfare, wasn't it? And the trench warfare was so barbaric, and it really sums up the First World War pretty well. That doesn't it?
It does. As does this gas mask case, I suppose, and the miners' lamp with the shot through it. So again, there was fighting in the tunnels.
Of course, there was.
The tunnels broke into each other, and it fascinates me.
No, it's a very, very, very interesting subject matter of the First World War, the tunnelling companies, and you don't see much stuff around it. So it's great to see so much stuff here relating to the tunnelling company. Again, thank you for showing us.
No, not at all.
And like we said at the beginning of the video, the development of the air warfare in World War I was such an important part, wasn't it, when it came in? And it was such a new thing. Well, we take air travel for granted, really, but during World War I, which wasn't really that long ago, it was just over 100 years ago now, air travel was completely null and void. No one did it. And when the Royal Flying Corps was formed, it really was a little bit of a coup to be involved in it, wasn't it? And
I believe so,
early aviators, they were like the sports stars of their times. And so Douglas has got this superb little display of items relating to the Royal Flying Corps. Hopefully you can see it. And, so tell us, the military cross set you got there, is that to a Royal Flying Corps pilot, is it?
It is, and that's his tunic. It was, again, it's interesting, it's a collector's story. I acquired the medals, less the main medal was missing. The MC, the star and the victory medal I had, and it turned out that they came from a family where the chap had died, and it's his father's. And on making further inquiries, it turned out his brother survived, and he had the other medal, the tunic, and the photograph here, and the hat of his father. So
he was able to put it all together,
and I was able to marry the two, and that's a great thing when you can do that.
That's wonderful. I mean, very unusual to be able to do that, but well done for doing that.
Often things are split up, aren't they?
Of course they are, especially with family members. One family member keeps one medal, one keeps another medal, and so many groups do get split up. So to be able to reunite a grouping is really, really fabulous thing to do. So no, we should be commended for that. And coming here, we've got some an unusual RFC armband, and was that some aerial darts? Are they in the box?
There's the aerial darts. It's a sort of a display of aerial darts.
So these darts would have been, as troops were going over the lines, they would drop these aerial darts down onto the enemy trenches, and as you can imagine, something like that falling on you from some height, that's going to cause you a lot of pain and damage if it hits you. So
big ouch.
Yeah, they were not nice pieces, but
they'd empty them out of buckets, wouldn't they? I mean, it wouldn't be just
not just a single
180
precise bullseye dart. No, they would drop loads of these out, and so they would spread across the lines. So and again, we've got some nice going forward from there. Explain some of the pieces you got.
Well, this is all Ypres Wipers. We got various copies of the Wipers Times, original copies, and we got some relics from the cloth hall, and also some relics from the cathedral. And you can see some medieval glass here. I mean, these were souvenired and brought back. Goodness knows by whom. I'm afraid that's lost in time, but they're just fantastic pieces. A bit of medieval history that coincided with
the First World War. Wow, yeah, no, it's some very, very interesting pieces. Probably, if you've seen our first video, I'd say probably your first British collection is slightly smaller than your German one in terms of number of pieces.
Smaller room.
Smaller room, okay. But it's still some really, really interesting pieces, and we can't really stress enough to collectors.
Have you seen that?
A bit of time. Oh, what's this?
Well, Soldier Surprise box, dinner for six. I just love this. I mean, this has been sent out.
Wow.
And look there's the menu. One tin of roast chicken, 1 tin of ox tongue, 1 Christmas pudding, 1 tin veal ham pate, tin of Norwegian sardines, Vigor roll cubes, chocolate rations, jar of salmon and shrimp paste, packet of biscuits, salt and pepper, 23 Castle cigarettes. Not
No,
many between 6 of you, is it?
No.
Note paper and envelopes, and pencil to write a thank you letter, I guess. 2 tablets of toilet soap and 1 tin opener.
Wow, that's a wonderful piece. Now, I've
to
never
me,
seen one of these,
No,
so that is superb.
I've seen one other, but
Really, wow.
yeah, it's
That's
a rare survivor.
So that probably was sent out, do you think, to an officer, or
I would think an officer.
yeah, an officer, so from his family, so maybe probably early part of the war, would you say?
Yes, I think probably the first Christmas almost.
Yeah, may well be. Wow, that's a really wonderful, fantastic piece, and delighted because I've never ever seen one. So that's great. Thank you for pointing that out and showing us. So again, at the bottom of this case, we've got a few of the pieces of equipment. Again, you see these quite often, don't you? The wire cutters and the various variations of the bayonets.
Yes.
So you've got the first and later patterns of the famous 1907. Both of those look like they're the hook quillen pattern bayonet, which again very, very sought after by collectors. And then again on the back wall here, which we will just come around and show, that's it's the cuff rank tunic that relates to the medal grouping.
Yep, and I'll just read his name. His name is Vachel, Captain C.T. Vachel.
And then you've got the variations of the Imperial German, British First World War aerial bombs there as well.
The Hales and the Coopers.
Yeah, so they're very nice pieces, and again all nice with original paint.
Signed picture of Douglas Haig down there.
Douglas Haig, okay, so I'm sure everyone who don't have to explain Douglas Haig, everyone probably watching this video should possibly know who he was.
Yes.
We hope he knows who he was. So again, hopefully you'll be able to see, like I say, with what a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and of course money, has produced a truly wonderful collection. We really hope you've enjoyed viewing this video. We've enjoyed making it. We've enjoyed meeting with Douglas again and seeing so many pieces. So Douglas, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to show us. Okay.
So, thank you.
If you have enjoyed this video, please do subscribe, and we're going to be hopefully doing more of these collector showcase videos. If you have a collection that you'd like to show us, it doesn't have to be big like this one. It can be a small collection, one you're very proud of. We'd love to hear from you, and if you're happy for us to film it and talk to us through about your collection, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for watching. Bye-bye.